for changing the world, maybe making some money along the way. We're going to spend the next hour, an hour and a half with investor pitch practice and questions from startup founders from all over the world. We've got hundreds of people RSVP today, so I don't know if we're going to get to everybody. I tried to print out all the questions, and they got a little ahead of me. My printer literally ran out of toner. We'll get to as many as we can. And of course, I'll be turning on the chat room soon, too, to welcome you in to talk to each other, because that's really what we're doing here is building communities, building networks that can help you accelerate your startup visions. And like I said, help improve the world and maybe make some money, too. So welcome to Startup Office Hours. This is a monthly program that I do here from the luxury of my office in Southern California. It's lunchtime here in Southern California. And so I'm turning on my camera to see what I can do to help you. I'm a serial internet entrepreneur. I've been at this a long time. Founded and built a lot of big companies, small companies, well, more small companies, really, and a couple big ones. I've written these books over here. If you haven't seen my books, the three in the middle are in English. The rest are foreign translations. So from all over the world, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, all kinds of different languages. So if you're here from some other part of the world, welcome. Happy to have you here. I'm working on some new books too. Stay tuned on that. We'll get to that this summer. But I'm here today to help share with you the benefits of my experience, which have benefited me personally and my family, as well as created some cool products and services that help the rest of the world. Today, I spend most of my time doing stuff like this. I'm mostly an angel investor, and I review lots of pitches and decks, probably thousands of them over the last few years. And I'm here to try to share the insider techniques and perspective that investors have on fundraising. I've been running office hours like this on and off for at least 10 years. And as the audience has grown, I've noticed that the focus is almost, let's say 70% on fundraising. That's the biggest hurdle that early stage founders have. And I have a real mission, as you can tell by all the books I wrote and stuff. I'm really trying to help people get up to the next level. I came from a background with not a lot and with no connections. And these days I'm kind of an insider. So this show is about helping you find your way inside the club that makes money through digital innovation. So we're going to be talking mostly about high-tech ventures, which are the ones that grow the fastest. And that's not because there aren't thousands of good ideas, maybe millions of good ideas in the world, but it's the high-tech, high-growth ones that grow the fastest and therefore attract venture capital money. And that's where most of the questions I get are around. And that's mostly what we'll be talking about today. How can you find investors? How can you meet investors, build relationships, raise money? What sort of capital structure should you use to attract investors? What needs to go in your deck? What needs to not go in your deck or your pitch? We'll do some practice like that as well. So we've got two channels going on here, basically. One's the public one. Well, actually, there's several channels, but there's public and private. So the public is what most of you are watching. So we're live on YouTube, on LinkedIn Live, on Facebook, on Blog Talk Radio. And of course, the archived editions of previous shows are available in all those places as well. But there's also a backstage chat, which is already full. And those are for folks who have RSVP'd. And that's what I was talking about. These printouts, I've got a bunch of people who were smart enough to read the fine print on the event listings and wrote in early with questions and pitches that they wanted to practice. So we're going to be getting to those folks first. And I can see backstage, I can see people like Brett and Valdemar and Meltizo and Lydia and James and Kay and Henry and Chris. So if you folks are going to want to participate, you need to turn your cameras on. I'm talking to Brett and Kay and some of the others James. And I'm going to bring you all on stage in a couple minutes, or on camera, I should say. And we'll just talk through who wants to talk about what to figure out what our agenda is today. And for those of you who aren't, I know as soon as I turn on the chat room, everybody's, how do I get backstage? The backstage is full for now. So when folks come on camera, they're going to ask their questions, practice their pitch, then they will leave. And this is for you guys backstage. You're going to hopefully then turn off your camera and go and watch on YouTube or LinkedIn so we can let other people backstage. That's kind of how this works. There's only room for 10 at a time backstage. And we've got, dozens and dozens of people tuning in so far. Okay, so let me see what I've missed. Hopefully you all can hear me and see me, I guess. The backstage folks, yeah, I guess you can. Your turn. Can anybody wave at me? Thank you, Lydia. Okay, cool. All right, so that's working. I often forget to turn things on. I get so excited to be talking to you. So, all right, so we're going to be here, do this, and then I introduced myself. That's good. Oh, let me start with a couple caption updates. So we have couple qualifications. So, okay, well, first of all, that's me. Hi. Some of my background. And particularly the reason I do this, I guess I should say for a moment, is I'm particularly interested in helping people who are not already insiders make more money. Right. I'm interested in finding people who are like I used to be, who were maybe first time founders, or maybe they're immigrants or minorities or women or people who don't get quite the same attention and are underappreciated by the existing capital structure. So that's really what we're doing here. Of course, white guys are welcome too. I'm a white guy. So we're doing this for everybody, but we're happy, especially happier if you're here, if you're from an underrepresented group, because that's who needs a little extra boost. And that's why I'm doing this. So also need to point out that this show is about fundraising and a lot of technical and specific topics, but this is not qualified legal advice. Hold on, I'm trying to find that disclaimer, put that up just to make it official. There we go. This is not qualified legal or financial advice. This is just friendly lunchtime conversation with some guy you met on the internet. And that's what we're doing today. So if you have real issues, which I know all of you do, all entrepreneurs have issues, no doubt about that. If you have real specific problems for your business, we're going to kind of do overview conversations, but you should absolutely talk to your own qualified legal and tax and accounting and mental health professionals to get help with the specifics. Okay. This is just kind of for fun and directional trends to point you hopefully in the right direction. Also, this session, like every month, is being recorded and will be online. So don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything too confidential. All of this, again, is going to be shared. And the idea is to get everybody together and meet each other and share information, but only up to a point, right? You don't want to give away your secret sauce. And this will be archived on LinkedIn. So if you missed this or you want to see previous episodes, you can. Did I say LinkedIn? I meant YouTube. It's archived on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So if you're not there already, please go ahead and visit that and like and subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So, and I guess that's our only ask here. We're doing a lot of sharing as much expertise as I have. But if you're watching this, please comment, link, subscribe, all that stuff, because that's what drives the algorithm. And there aren't too many investors I know like myself who do this and give away this advice essentially for free. So if you think this is a good idea and like to support our work, then please like and subscribe. Like I said, this is, by the way, this is a service of the Startup Council. Startup Council here, this is an organization that I've started specifically to do this and to help founders around the world. And you can go to startupcouncil.org. And if you're not yet, you should go get on our mailing lists. And I'm trying to find that URL for you. You can join and sign up. There's 7 different mailing lists now, 7 that all address different holes that I, as an entrepreneur, have seen in the market. And they're all trying to help you guys. There it is. Trying to help you guys. So we have mailing lists specifically that introduce new investors. We have mailing lists that host events, virtual events, so you don't have to live in San Francisco to go to the events. We have mailing lists of startups, where people who, like you maybe, who are trying to reach out and have investors find them. We have et cetera, et cetera. Ways for you to publicize yourselves and meet investors. These are essentially nonprofit businesses that I'm trying to build community services to help all of you guys. So go there, and that's kind of the gateway into all of that. And I guess since I've got this Chiron right here, this is a cool one to see. Where did it go? Just a second. The National Startups Directory. This is cool. Where did it go? Here, this one. Okay. So this is what we're calling our sponsor today. This is the national, here's well, that's the business card for it, but the National Startups Directory. The camera won't focus. All right, this is a directory of startups. And what we're trying to do is get all hundreds of startups in one place in a standardized listing. Why? So investors can find you, right? That's the problem when you're a founder, and I've been a founder. Nobody knows you're there. So you got to get out there. And we're trying to create a centralized place where you all can list, and you can literally, I think it's free right now. That code you can see is literally free for a year or something like that. And even then, it's really low cost. We're just trying to cover costs with this stuff. All right, so that's our game plan for today. Okay, who's with me? I hope you're all with me. And I'm going to turn on the chat in a minute. It's people are chatting in there. We'll get to that in a second. But first, I want to invite a bunch of our backstage folks on camera, and we're going to try to figure out what we're going to talk about today, because I have some ideas, but I don't know who all actually showed up. And we'll see who's going to join us and what they want to talk about. Okay, so. All right, so we've got 10 people backstage. So everybody who wants to come on camera, turn on your camera. It looks like you guys are listening. What a great crowd we have. Okay, so we're going to bring on Brett and Valdemar and Meltizo and a bunch of other folks. And everybody just hang on a second. And we're going to, okay, hold on there. I'm going to I'm gonna have to. Is that you, Valdemar? Who somebody? Yeah. Okay, Valdemar. Sorry, we got to turn you off. That you've got your microphone or something crazy feedback, my friend. I'm sorry. That's gonna hurt everybody's ears. Okay, and here comes some other folks. Hi guys, nice to see you. And Henry. Oh, here's Henry. Henry's a local. Good to see you, Henry. And James. And so there's somebody else really loud. Who's that? I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to work on your audio. Okay, and Chris. Okay, we got a bunch of people. Hi. So let's see if we can try a different layout here. Get it. There we see people a little better. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's what we got so far. And then I missed, who did I not bring on? Jesse. Hey, Jesse, you want to angle your camera? I can only see your forehead. Well, there you are. Hi, that must be Jesse. And if you're not talking, can you mute for a second? Let's just see who's giving us trouble here. Valdemar, we'll try you again. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Valdemar. Yeah, you're gonna happy to have you put something in the chat, but are you guys hearing that too, or is it just me? It's kind of like this airplane noise. Yeah, okay. Okay, sorry, Valdemar, nothing personal. Happy to chat with you. And I know you wrote in too, so we'll try to get to your question. Okay, so this part of the show is just a simple kind of quick introduction. So I'd like to just go around each of you. Just give me the 30-second version of what you'd like to talk about. And I have your notes so we can elaborate. But if you just give me the 30-second version, and then I can figure out kind of a coherent order to the show, and then everybody else knows what we're going to talk about as well. So let's start here. If we don't mind, Henry, nice to see you. Can you unmute and just give me the 30-second what your question or pitch is about today?
Well, I wanted to pitch a 1-minute pitch today. I didn't do it last time, so that's the main thing I wanted to do.
Easy. Okay, I remember last time. Okay, Henry, great. Nice to see you. So that's our friend Henry, and I'm going to let him. I'm going to turn your camera off there, Henry, just for a second. And there. Okay. All right. Give a little more space for the rest of you. And this next gentleman, I don't know your face. Chris. Is that Chris? Hi, Chris. Looks like you need to unmute, Chris.
Hi. Hi, Scott. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Well, it's morning here in Sydney, Australia.
Excellent. Nice. Good day.
Good day. This is my first attendance, and I really, I've got quite a few ideas swirling around in my head. I've been a co-founder of some quantitative hedge funds, but very small ones in the past. This time I'm looking to do something on my own. And yeah, I don't have any backing at the moment. So, and then it's not necessarily hedge fund related, but it's these ideas are related. They're quantitative, so machine learning. That's my background.
Okay, what's your question? Hold on, Chris, what's your question? I just need to table of contents.
Is it possible to raise funds from angel investors with just a pitch deck, so just conceptual?
Okay.
What are the key ingredients to success at the conceptual stage?
That's a great question, and we will definitely cover that. So I will get back to you. Thank you. Nice to see you. Thanks for getting up early. Okay, so then next up looks like the names are hiding from me. Meltizo, is that right? That's one of you, not both of you, right? Or are you like a group? You're a rock band or something?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're together.
Okay. Hi guys, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so we would like to practice our pitch.
Okay, cool. Well, that was easy. And where are you guys from?
Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Excellent. We just opened a Meetup group in Amsterdam. Is that why you saw us? Did you see it on Meetup? I got it. All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will have you guys on in a couple minutes as well. And just for everybody that's interested in pitching, the pitch format here is pretty simple. It's just 2 minutes, no slides, or up to 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be 2 minutes, but we keep them short. And it's more like the experience of pitching rather than the full in-depth of the pitch, right? So we can talk about pitches separately, but the practice is more just kind of to give you a little bit of stage fright and some in a friendly environment and feedback. So 2 minutes or less, audio only, and then we'll move on and we'll give feedback, and you'll get feedback from the chat room as well. All right, next up. So that will be Meltizo, and then this next gentleman here in the yellow shirt, whose name is Kay. Hi, Kay.
Yes, that's me. Good
Hi.
to see you. I'm Kay. I'm founder at Universal Informatics, and we are based in La Habra in Orange County, so we're not that far.
Right.
The product is Universal UI, makes it significantly cheaper to develop apps and services. I am here to practice my pitch, but I had a pitch deck. I didn't prepare for a 2-minute pitch, but I'm happy to try.
Okay, that's exactly right. That's the spirit. So let's do that. And yeah, we don't have time for full pitches, but the 2-minute thing, if you're willing, we'll do it. And you don't have to go first that way. You can see how other people do if you'd like, or you can go first to get it over with. Either way.
Absolutely.
We're friendly either way. Cool. Well, nice to meet you, Kay. And then next up, looks like I'm just moving real high tech here. I'm moving across the screen slowly. James. Hey, James.
Greetings, Scott. We're local. I'm local in Orange County. I think we've met before in Irvine at your evening gatherings. Thank you for those.
Yeah. Nice.
I reached out. I'm maybe a very early stage here, so I don't have anything to pitch. But I am looking for a route to pathway into the local, I would say, rocket and aerospace businesses in Southern California. We have a vision sensor that's a edge computing device that's a quality aspect of metal additive manufacturing. Is pretty widely used in all the new relativity space, Rocket Lab.
Okay.
Those guys.
Good, cool. That's great. We'll talk about that. You wrote in, so I had time to think about that, which I much appreciate. Okay,
Thank you.
We'll get back to James. And then we've got left here, Jesse. Hey, Jesse. Where are you from, Jesse?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, thanks. My name is Jesse Heisler. Work with a chip startup in Dallas. I'm based in Huntington Beach. It's a semiconductor startup. I'd like to practice my pitch.
Okay, awesome. Lots of pitches today. Okay, great. Nice to meet you. And then we've got last but not least is Lydia. Hello, Lydia. Where are you?
Yes, my name is Lydia, and hello, everyone. I'm calling in from Virginia.
Okay.
And I'm the founder of the Lead Communications. Lead is the first three initials of my name, LYD Communications. And bottom line is what I plan to do is more of a call center setup kind of.
What's your question?
Funding is the problem. So I want to be able to be conversant with how I can pitch to investors, what the protocol is and what I need to do and what I need to say, how I have to say it, and then go ahead and practice. And if you have any other suggestions,
okay,
as to angel funding and angel investors and all that good stuff. So I'm pretty much here to learn and grow.
Fair enough. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for tuning in.
Nice to meet you all too.
And we will definitely, you're right in our sweet spot. We will be covering those kind of topics and helping everybody learn, and especially because it sounds like you're going to see a bunch of examples. We got a bunch of people pitching, so you'll see how this actually works in a real life live ammunition situation. Well, I guess not live ammunition. Nobody's writing checks today. Just in case the SEC is listening, this is not officially pitch practice. These are not all qualified accredited investors. This is for entertainment purposes only. Still educational though. All right, so cool. So we're going to get on that. Let me just look at my notes. Let me just tell you about something that our friends from Amsterdam reminded me. I wanted to tell you guys where I have a Chiron for each of these, but I have lots of Chirons. So let me find this. Basically, the Startup Council, come on, where is this? Well, it's kind of like that. I already told you should go there, but the Startup Council is worldwide. Well, here's a good one, actually. Let me put this up. If you're on LinkedIn, you should come and join us. Follow us there. We'd appreciate it. You can find me personally. I'll put my URL in the chat later. You can find me personally as well. I get kind of overwhelmed on LinkedIn, so I can't necessarily keep up, but I'm happy to link. And, the algorithms they show you who you connect with, right? So if you'd like more, we can keep in touch better that way. But what I wanted to tell you about is, oh, come on, where is this? This is the best part of the show, right? Where you guys watch me scroll and get confused. Hang on, I swear it's here. I saw it. There, okay. So meetups. So the Startup Council is a global organization. We started here in Southern California, as you've heard, and we have thousands of members here in Southern California. And I did that primarily to spin up the local community here. And then we've expanded, once we figured out how to help the local community, we've expanded online. Like I said, startupcouncil.org. There's 7 different newsletters, a bunch of different websites, all low cost or free, designed to help the ecosystem and to help you, honestly. The thing we're trying to talk about here is meetups. We have meetup groups in I think it's 48 cities now in at least 10 different countries, about 75,000 members worldwide. So if you are in a city where you haven't joined our Meetup group, please go do that. Of course, 50 cities sounds like a lot, but there's a lot more cities than that in the world. But all the major financial capitals and that are English speaking anyway. You can join, and like our friends in Amsterdam, they heard about that because we opened one in Amsterdam recently. And there's two things for you that may benefit you in this specifically. Well, one is obviously that you can get alerts for our events, but the other is that if you have events in your town, and we have meetups in Cape Town and Manila and Philadelphia, Chicago, Vancouver, Sydney, I mean, all over the place, Las Vegas, Miami. If you have events in your town that are startup related, and these are legit events, you're not trying to scam people or sell nonsense, right? But if you're trying to honestly help founders, you can come to this site, and of course you can join the meetups, but you can also submit your events and we will publicize them back in your town. Right. So if you're in Chicago and you're planning a pitch session, or you're in Milan or London and you're getting something together and you want some help publicizing it to help your local ecosystem, you can visit those meetups and submit the event details to us, and we'll put them on our meetups in those cities as well. So even if you don't have a mailing list in some of these towns, we will give you ours, essentially. Right. So trying to help you find more people and build your community. And then so I think that's cool. I don't know anybody else is doing that. And then also the secret plan here, it's not so secret, I guess, if I say it on YouTube, but for my next books, I'm going to hopefully come out and visit all those meetups in person, and we'll talk about the books and bring some of the expertise that we shared today to your cities. So that's startupcouncil.org/meetups. And you can go check that out. And we're there to help, like with everything else we do. So hopefully that sounded interesting. All right, now I'm going to turn on the chat room and see if anybody else is here with us. I know there are, obviously, but so if you are in the chat room, we'd like to see you. You're welcome to say hello, and we're going to have our friends start pitching and doing questions in a second here. There we go. So that's popping in, and let me just say hello to people there. And if you're coming in to the chat room, please let us know where you're from. That's always fun, at least for me to see. And Alex. Let's see. There's Alex. Hey, Alex, nice to see you. And Andre, thank you for helping moderate. Yes, Steve, right. We only have so much space backstage, and we will open that up as people ask their questions and pitch and leave, and then you can come in, given how much time we have, of course. So hello, Carlos. Hello, Andre. Hi, Chi. Hi. Let's see. William. Okay, there's a question William has. Hopefully we can get back to that. Angel. Thank you for the sound check, Angel, and Alex, and Lebanese now in Ottawa. Okay, cool. All right, and now that the chat room's on, I'm sure a bunch more of you are going to pop in and join that as well. So the point of the chat room is that you can meet each other. You can also offer feedback. So if somebody asks a question or gives a pitch, you please share your expertise as well. I don't have all the answers. I'm just here trying to convene and moderate, right? So there's a lot more expertise in the group mind that is the audience here than in between these ears. So please go ahead and contribute but via the chat room. And we'd love to hear from you, and the founders who are pitching and asking questions would love to have your expertise as well. So if you know people you can introduce them to, or there's something about their pitch you think could be improved, et cetera, that's what the chat room is for. And please go ahead and post your LinkedIn URLs in there. In fact, I said I was gonna, and here's mine if you want to connect on LinkedIn. And happy to welcome you. Please do put a quick note and just say, I was there on your startup office hours, so that I know who you are, because I get lots of spammers and scammers, and we try to filter out to keep the knuckleheads out. Okay, so next up we're going to have, let's see, now let me look at my list. Let's see, pitch, questions, pitch, questions. Okay, so far of the let's see here, of the bunch of people that we talked to, about half were pitches and half looked like questions about fundraising, which is about what I expected. So I think maybe, why don't we, Henry, if you're game, let's give Henry a shot, because I know he's done this before. He's literally done it on stage with me at an event I hosted nearby last year. And he can give the rest of you an example. So let me find Henry, and then we'll do a couple minutes of that. And then I think maybe we'll alternate questions and pitches. And where'd Henry go? Okay. There he is. Hey, Henry. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let me just reiterate for everybody else. What Henry's going to do is like a 2-minute pitch. And Henry, you have a lot of background noise. I guess you're on speaker, so it's okay. But if it gets worse, Yeah, we're gonna have to.
So yeah, it's quiet here.
Okay, maybe next time you want to get a mic or something as opposed to the open air thing, but I think it's okay for today, but just warning you. Okay, so what Henry's going to do is a minute or two of pitch, just verbal, and he's going to try to address, this is part of Lydia and other people's questions. He's going to try, and Henry knows some of this, so I think this will probably be okay. But he's going to try to address the problem and solution, and then how they make money. Like, those are the kind of the three simplest points. What we don't need is your life story, and it's got to be quick in a minute or two. And in fact, the first 30 seconds are the most important, because that's when people are paying attention. If they don't understand what you're doing in the first 30 seconds or so, we're going to fall asleep. So, or play on our phones more likely, right? So, okay, so that's enough people there. And let's hear what Henry has to say today. Is this GW Apps, your same company?
Correct.
Excellent. Okay, so I've heard this before, so I'm going to be really hard on him. No, I'm not.
So I thought it was a 1 minute pitch, so it's on the short side.
Okay, that's fine.
So hi, I'm Henry. I'm a co-founder of GW Apps, and we provide a no-code application platform to help medium and small businesses digitize their operation and build custom application. The problem today is that too many small businesses are behind on the digital journey, and they're still using spreadsheet to manage their business data. It is very inefficient. So we designed GW Apps with two key points in mind. First, make it very easy to get started and build simple application. That is key, because otherwise people give up and they just look at other alternatives. But at the same time, we offer a lot of advanced feature in our platform. So as they learn the platform and build simple application, they're able to develop more complex application and really digitize their operation. In fact, our clients tell us that we offer the best combination of ease of use and advanced feature, which is why probably we have a 97% retention rate. The no-code market is growing 35% annually, expected to be at $90 billion by 2029. It's a great opportunity for people with a good product. We're actually adding today some AI feature to make it even easier to use the product. So I'd love to have 15 minutes of your time to discuss more of this opportunity in more detail. Thank you for listening.
Wow, that was good. Very good. Henry's done this a couple times. Seriously, Henry, that was very nice.
Okay.
And concise. So I'm glad we recorded that, because that's how it should be done. I didn't time it actually, but yeah, it was under 2 minutes, obviously. So nicely done. So this is the opportunity for everybody in the chat room to offer feedback. So we're not going to really debate the business model, because that's just, we could and should, but that's a much longer discussion. But if you have suggestions about what he said or didn't say, or left out, or should put back in, or that kind of thing, or that's what the chat room is for. On a structural level, I would suggest a couple things just to Henry and everybody. Be careful about what I said before he started. It sounds like he's using a speakerphone. That's probably not what you want to do with the pitch, because audio, there's literally a study that shows people think you are 19% smarter if they can hear you better. And the quality of your audio is critical if you're going to get somebody on the phone. For a Zoom pitch, obviously, in face-to-face, you just got to speak up, right? But I would encourage you to get a dedicated microphone if you're going to be doing Zoom pitches, and everybody's doing Zoom pitches these days. So it's a decent investment. I'll even, if it's helpful, this is one I use. This is a Blue Yeti. This is it was about $100 maybe 5 years ago. So this is a kind of a fancy one, but any dedicated microphone will be better than a speakerphone. Okay, so that's for everybody. So pitch-wise, here's what I'd say. I would say fantastic, concise, very nice. He did a couple things that I think are instructive to the rest of you who are asking, how is this done? And those are this. He started with a one-line sort of explanation. He introduced himself, and he explained what the company did, like in one sentence. And that's really important. He gave us some context, because it may be obvious to you what you do, but we investors, we hear so many pitches. We don't know, we don't have time to read the stuff you send us quite often, especially if it's a big competition or something. So if you show up and you start talking and you don't say to like 60 seconds in what you actually do, we're lost. We don't know if you're an aerospace company or a cosmetics company or a pizzeria. Like, you got to tell us. We don't know. So he did that right up front. Then he moved second to the problem and a solution. And then he made 2 key points, which is great, because 2 I can remember, 6 I can't, right? So problem, solution, 2 key points. See, I'm being really nice. I said I was going to be mean, but I can't be mean, Henry. That was too good. And then he threw in some statistics, which are also, investors eat numbers. So if you don't feed us numbers, we starve. So here, so the positive side is this: 97% retention rate. 97% anything is amazing, right? So, and retention rate's particularly great. That means the number of their customers that renew. That's fabulous. My probably largest and kind of only criticism, Henry, and again, this is constrained by time, so you didn't have time to say everything, but that was the only number you gave us, right? Well, no, that's not true. You talked about the market size, which is great, but it sounded like you're in revenue, which is VC speak for he's making money. How much? Like, I don't have any idea. I didn't hear that. Maybe you're saving that. And sometimes people do hold stuff back because the point of a pitch is you're not going to get a check. The point of the pitch is to get another pitch, right? So that's fine. Maybe you're strategically holding that back, but I don't have any sense of how you make money. I mean, it's an app. So I guess, is it SaaS? Is it one time? Is it, I don't know, I can guess, but you didn't say. How much is the average ticket size? Like, is a typical customer $5 or 5 million? I don't know. Again, maybe you didn't want to say that, but those, again, investors eat numbers. And if you, and I'm talking to everybody here, if you feed us those numbers, we'll be doing the math in our heads. Oh, you said you make $5,000 per customer and your average customer, and you have 100 customers. I'm doing the math, right? And I'm like, and then you have a 97% retention rate. That means it happens every year. Okay, I'm calculating that in my head. And even if you're not a numbers person, we are. That's what we do. So those kind of numbers are important. And again, in a minute, casual pitch, hard to fit all that in. But that would be the only thing I saw you missed, Henry, because the rest was great. The last,
it was designed as a 1-minute pitch. That's why I kept it short. But with 2 minutes, I definitely should add those points. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then the last piece is the ask, the specifics. Again, hard to do in a short amount of time, but we're raising this much, or we're hoping to raise this much. At maybe even say evaluation, maybe not, because those are debatable. And if you have a structure in mind, this is a safe note, a pre-money, post-money safe, it's convertible debt, whatever, et cetera. So a little more on the financial side would be helpful and interesting to those of us who are investors. Great. So big round of applause. Let's see what the chat room had to say, Henry. Let's see what your reviews were like from the crowd. Let's see. Hello, Peter. Hi, Athena. Amelia, yes, you can pitch a food business if we want to. I don't know if we have room today, but let's see. There's some other questions. And who is your ideal customer and what's the most important pain point for them? Okay. You talked a little bit about that kind of thing, but you could be more specific. Sure. Really good pitch. It would benefit if you add more emotion, like variations in voice and tone. Okay, sure. Enthusiasm. That's a good one, Andre. I would validate that. That goes along with my better microphone, right? And I'm not the expert here. Well, I guess today I'm kind of the expert, but you notice I do that. Like, I'm talking and sometimes I get excited and other times I whisper, like it keeps it engaging. I have a lot of broadcast training though. So that's not a surprise, but that can help. And then Athena says, hi, Andre. Okay, cool. All right. So there we go. Nice job, Henry. Seriously. You can tell the gentleman has practiced. It's good to see you. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
We'll keep moving along here. Got a lot of folks today. All right. So let's hopefully people are finding this useful. Let's see who's next on our list. I'm looking at our notes. So we had Chris and Maltezo and Kay and James, Jesse and Lydia so far. Angels and aerospace investors, Lydia. Let's do a little round table if we could, okay? And talk about funding. And then we'll do more pitches here, okay? Although, it's got to be, what time is it in Amsterdam? It's pretty late. Malteser, are you guys, where'd they go? I don't want to keep you guys up all night. What is it, like 10 o'clock there? 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? Hello?
9:30.
Oh.
Yes, it's 9:30.
9:30. Okay, so it's not too late. All right.
Yeah.
Well, why not? You want to do your pitch, or you want us to talk about the fundraising stuff first?
Fundraising is fine.
You want to hear that? Okay. Let's do that. We'll come back to you. Okay, so let's bring on our friends. Let's see, Lydia, and who else wanted to talk about fundraising? James, you want to turn on your camera? And who's the third one? Chris. Is Chris still here? Where's Chris? Chris. There he is. Sorry, down there. Okay. So here we've got some folks who all had questions about fundraising. So can each of you give me one sentence of a question just to set the context? Just one sentence. I know you all have more, but let's just start, like, have a kind of a group conversation, and that maybe will help everybody. Okay. Oh, actually, first, can you all smile? There we go. All right. You got to post it on social media. Okay, cool. So one question, just like one sentence question. So Chris, what's your just one sentence version?
Is it possible to raise funds from angel investors with just a pitch deck?
Perfect. That's exactly. Okay. And James. I think you're muted, James.
How do I find a knowledgeable investor?
Okay, cool. And then Lydia?
She's got to be.
Yeah. Lydia, do you want to unmute? Coming.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah. Who is eligible? What type of business or what type of startup is eligible to receive from an angel investor, and what should your portfolio look like?
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you all. All right, so if we put those kind of in order, then you're all in the same wheelhouse. That's why I thought maybe we could do this together. So let's start with who's eligible, how to find them, and then deck only. Okay. So I think that the answers are, and these are my answers. Again, chat room, please chime in and join us and offer your suggestions, because I know a lot of people have similar questions, which also means that a lot of you have similar experience, right? So go ahead and chime in on these questions if you would. So, okay, so let's start with who is eligible. And so, well, let's see. Okay, so angel investors are accredited investors. Accredited investors in the United States these days generally means that they have at least $1 million net worth, or I think it's $300,000 or $400,000 of annual income, and it's more if they have a joint, like a spouse, a couple situation. So these are people who have what seems like a lot of money when you don't have any money, but they're not really the super rich necessarily. Once you get above accredited investors, another tier called qualified purchasers, and those people have at least $5 million net worth that's investable. And then, of course, there's like the super rich, right? But basically, you're talking about people. The reason that there's an asset requirement, of course, is that the SEC is trying to keep people who don't have a lot of financial experience from investing in things that they maybe don't understand and losing their money. So it's the state trying to help protect the weak. There's arguments pro and con on both sides, of course. But as a founder, what you're trying to do is find people like that or more. So the reason that there's an asset requirement is because some people just have money, right? Some people just are born with money. Not me, maybe not you guys, but some people just have money magically. But the other category is those who make money. And so a lot of angels are people who have good incomes. They're bankers or lawyers or doctors or dentists. And so that's why there's an income requirement as well, or a separate category for income. So to find investors, the entry-level question is, who in your family network has some money, right? And that's why most people start with friends and family. And the typical joke is that first stage funding is the 3 F's: friends, family, and fools, right? Who's going to be dumb enough to believe you if they don't already a friend or a family? And the reason that has some truth to it is because investment comes, like most sales situations, from relationships. Friends and family are the first investors because they're the ones that know you, and they may not already understand what you're doing, but they know you and they believe in you, and they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt that a professional investor is not. So as you try to raise larger amounts of money, you're going to run into people like me who are angel investors, and we get picky, but then venture capital firms are even pickier because they're investing money from their limited partners, who tend to be big institutional clients like endowments and pension funds and banks and things like that. So it's our job to be picky, right? And so friends and family are where you start, and then you move up to maybe to fools, people who might have met you and don't really know, but at least are willing to try. And then, of course, you move on to people who actually do this a lot, which is people like me and, of course, venture capital firms. So that's kind of the landscape. So who's eligible? It's people with some amount of money. Now, that's different than crowdfunding, which is another thing. Equity crowdfunding these days, there's a lot of in-betweens where offerings can be made through websites like WeFunder and Start Engine and people like that. And full disclosure, I'm an investor in both of those companies. But the idea of raising money from your customers is a really cool idea. WeFunder calls it a community round. So somebody who's asking, for example, about a food startup, if you're opening a restaurant or something, you're probably not going to be able to raise venture capital, because venture capital is really designed for high growth, super high growth businesses, which tend to be software based or technology innovations of some kind, maybe life sciences. Venture capital doesn't tend to invest, say, in restaurants. Even if it's going to be a restaurant chain that spins off millions or billions, that's not typically a venture capital investment. So for Lydia, for you, for a call center, I don't know enough about you. We don't have time today, but I don't know if that's a venture capital-ish thing. Whereas what James is talking about, aerospace, that's an area where innovations are showing up all the time with material science and rockets and all kinds of stuff where, wow, things can go literally to the moon, and you can make real money there, right? So VC is more interested in that because they are literally looking for moonshots. They can invest in 100 companies and 99 of them go belly up, but one of them is Uber and pays back all the others. So they're looking for real home runs all the time. So, okay, so that's my first answer. Am I on the right track? Is that helpful, Lydia, or anybody else? Yeah, okay, good. That's helpful. Okay, good. All right. So I'll keep going. What do you, so I'm going to look at my notes here. Okay, so can you pitch with a deck only? So Chris, sounds like you run a quant hedge fund. Obviously, you've got some brains there. That's impressive stuff. Normally, I would say no. In the old days, you could raise money with a deck only. And by the old days, I mean Web 1.0. The internet was so new and the potential was so large that people were kind of less judicious.
I sorry for the interruption. What is deck only?
Oh, sure. Okay, great. Good question. So
some of us are very new to this.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, keep me honest. Good stuff. Presentation deck. So in the old days, a business plan would be written, and I could even show you one of mine, I think, from Web 1.0. Well, that's not it, but anyway, it looked like this. They were long documents that people would print full of graphs and charts and stuff. And this, as an example, well, this one's 100 pages, but they were like 30 or 40 page documents. And people don't do that anymore because nobody has time. And frankly, as a startup, it's all made up anyway, right? You don't need to write 50 pages about something, right? You're kind of making this stuff up.
It's a story.
What's that?
It's a story.
It's a story. Yeah, that's right. And these days, so a presentation deck is a slide deck, like a PowerPoint, and it might be 5 to 20 pages, depending on your audience and the length of time you have to present. And it summarizes all that very quickly in big fonts that people can read from the back of the room, and you just talk through it, generally in a pitch situation of between 5 and 20 minutes. And that's what it means by a deck. So can you raise money without a deck? Historically, yes. These days, I would say no, especially since we've left the ZIRP environment, meaning the zero interest rate environment, which as a quant guy, you're probably familiar with, all the free money, essentially, when interest rates were at zero here in the States. Investors like me, and more importantly, much larger investors, were looking anywhere where they could get some kind of return because it was basically 0% interest to put their money in the bank. So they were throwing money at everything. Well, now interest rates are up where they're more interesting, 4, 5, 6%, or more, depending on what you're looking at. So that money is being more judicious, and the growth rates have come down for a lot of things. So people are being pickier, which is a long way of saying, I don't see anybody investing just on a deck anymore. Unless, and maybe this is you, Chris, you have something amazing that is innovative and you have domain expertise that suggests you can kick ass in this area in a way that other people can't. One of my friends calls it unfair competitive advantage. If you have an unfair competitive advantage, something unique, you can get into the right rooms, people may still be interested. It's a lot easier, though, immediately if you have anything to show for it, and we call that traction. And traction is the idea that you're gripping as you're clawing forward. So, any traction is better, like a minimum viable product, or some customers who are interested, or some customers who are actually paying, of course, is the best. And that's very chicken and egg. Especially if you're trying to start another hedge fund, for example, you probably need a lot of capital to start that. You see this a lot in medical devices and life sciences and hardware because they take tons of capital before they even produce anything. Like you see this with Elon Musk, right? I think he just raised $6 billion for a startup that hasn't even started, right? But he has obviously unique advantages and a track record that allow him to do that kind of stuff. and that's AI, which is artificial intelligence, is the hottest area of the investing landscape, right? So I think the answer is no, but maybe if you have a window into that. Is that helpful, Chris?
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you, Scott. I just had one question. What's your definition of minimum viable product, please?
Sure. Well, that depends a lot on the sector and what the product is, right? I guess minimum viable product to me would mean something that is workable enough that you can get customer reaction. So ideally, it's in the market and you're selling and getting sales revenue for it. But that's obviously a harder step, and it means that you need to have a fairly finished product and also one that you're ready to continue servicing on an indefinite basis, right? So an MVP can be, it's squishy, it's a spectrum, but it can be more of a prototype or something. But what we want to see is that somebody other than you gives a shit, right? That's what traction means, right? Like you've got a minimum viable product. You've got these, we meet entrepreneurs all the time who build castles in the air in their head, but they never actually sit down and do it. And the easiest way to prove to an investor that something is viable is that customers want it. And to do that, you have to have enough of something that other people are like, yeah, I will, maybe not publicly, but they'll say, yeah, I will buy that when it comes, or I'll put down a deposit, or, I'll be a beta tester for you, or, something that shows this is more than a lunch meeting with your uncle who's patting you on the head and saying, good job, Sonny. It's like, what do you actually got? And that can be challenging if you're running a hedge fund or something. But in your case, I'm guessing you'd have some sort of portfolio modeling or something that might show, model returns in the past or something like that. Sorry, we don't have time to get more into that, you or Lydia, with the specifics, but hopefully that gives you some context.
Thank you very much. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the two services that we actually do, if you want to work with me more directly, and these cost money, full disclosure, I only have so many hours in my day and I've got kids and stuff, but if you want to work with me directly, you can book some hourly time by phone, or I do video reviews of pitch decks and stuff like that. I can send you a quick video, right? It's not cheap, but if sometimes people want to do that and they ask me, so there you go. If that's useful. And for those who are listening to the audio only, it's at scottfox.com/workwithscott. Okay, so now let's talk to James. James is looking for aerospace investment, and then we're going to do some more pitches. I'm sorry, this is a lot of me talking, but these guys all had overlapping questions I think are useful. Tell me in the chat room if actually throw in some follow-up questions as well if you'd like, and I'll get to those in a second. So James was specifically aerospace. Is that what you wanted, James?
That's correct.
Okay, so James is looking at aerospace investors. So this is what I would do, and again, I don't have all the answers, but actually, let me throw in a quick plug, because this is actually something we built. This is a directory. I know you've been to my events before, James, but you've heard of this one. But startupinvestorsdirectory.com. I get this question every time. So we built this, and it's a directory of several thousand early stage investors, and it's all searchable. In aerospace, for example, it's one of the categories, but there are 40 or 50 categories. So you can search on, food tech or aerospace or biotech, and you can also search if they invest in Black founders or Latino founders or rural founders or immigrant founders, because I'm trying to help all those folks as well. And that code there, SID launch, it's half price or free or something, I forget. But anyway, that's the thing we built. So that's an answer. If you haven't looked there yet, James, I would try that. But more specifically, this is for everybody, and I hope this is helpful also. This is how I look at finding investors. What you have to do is work backwards with the end in mind, I think, which is who's the person most likely to invest. And that seems kind of obvious, but a lot of people seem to like this. Like they'll come into this and they'll use the search engine and they'll pull up a list of 1,000 investors who may have ever looked at an aerospace deal, and then they'll spam them all. Right. And that's not the way to get anything done. Right. In any context. Right. You wouldn't do that in any situation. And what you need to do instead is work backwards. And so what I would be doing is looking at aerospace deals and fill in your blank if you're not aerospace. Right. If you're biotech or you're ed tech or, crypto, whatever it is, look at that sector. What are the successful exits that have happened? and find 5 or 6 or 10 of those companies that have gone public or been acquired. Get as much information as you can. Work backwards. Okay, so those companies did great. Who were their investors? Did they have VC firms? Okay, probably at the later stages. Who were the earlier rounds? Who were the angel investors? And find those folks. And then also find the founders, because the founders of those companies, they're rich now. What are they doing? They think they're super smart because they built one company or maybe 2, but they're the people that are most likely, here's my punchline, to give you the benefit of the doubt. Because you need to find people like your friends and family would at the early stages who will give you the benefit of the doubt. But they don't know you and they don't know your business, but they maybe kind of do know your business because they're already in that industry. So maybe they'll give you a break and take you more seriously and get you in the door than if you, walked into a random bank or venture capital firm who didn't know you. And so what I'm saying is you substitute personal relationships with industry overlap or expertise and demonstrated interest. And then if you can find a dozen or 50 or whatever it is of people who actually worked in that industry, or even senior executives like in aerospace, find the guys that retired from Rockwell and Boeing and SpaceX, the former chairmen and stuff, right? That those people have money, right? And what are they doing? Playing golf, and they'd be happy to be consulted, because it'll make them feel smart and useful, and everybody likes to feel smart and useful, right? So that's what I'd be doing. So what I'm suggesting is a more personal approach than I see a lot of people talk about, and LinkedIn is great for this, right? Working backwards. Who's got the money is the answer, right? That's the answer. Who's got the money? Those guys. Go talk to them. And then, and that's what part of what we did here is and again, I'm not pushing this particularly. We don't make money on it. It's a break-even business, but we put in as much as we could, their portfolios. So go search on aerospace, then find those their investors and look at the portfolio companies that they invested in. So if you find a VC, the Lydia's VC firm, right? And Lydia invested in SpaceX, made a bunch of money. That's cool. If your company's like SpaceX, then you track down Lydia's contact information, and we put as much as we can on here, though it's sometimes hard to find. And then you email her or send her flowers. I mean, whatever, to get noticed, and say, hey, I saw you made some money in SpaceX. We've got a company that's going to be like SpaceX. And here's why. Don't, not a whole dog and pony show, but 2 or 3 quick points like Henry did in his pitch. 2 or 3 quick points. This is why we're growing and exciting. Can we follow up? And keep it short and sweet, but with context. And that will get you a much better result, I think, than the spray and pray that most people do. Okay, sorry. You got me going on my favorite topic, so I'm sorry if that was kind of a lecture. So any follow-up questions there, or I'll go into the chat room. Is that useful?
Very, thank you.
Yeah? Okay, good. Sometimes I get talking and I get talk too much. All right, let's see what our friends say in the chat room. If anybody has some, I bet there's additional.
Oh, Scott, I had the other gentleman on the group there of 3.
Chris.
I remember the word adoption. You were kind of talking about how to show validity, and the word adoption in the market. Clients are out there expressing interest in what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah,
that's great.
Pulls that whole thing together.
I agree. That's a nice one. All right, so let's just look at the chat room for a second and see what our friends, see if everybody's enjoying that or laughing at my inept explanation. Okay, okay, there, I saw those already. And okay, so Amelia, we kind of just talked about that. So Amelia says, what if the company's not making money yet? What should I mention instead? And I actually what James just said there, adoption. If you have any kind of adoption, the word I used was traction. Same idea. What have you done that is more than you thinking it's a good idea, right? What have you sold a few? Have you had some customers express interest? Have you even just run some ads and showed that they had a good click-through rate? Or have you spoken at some conferences? Like whatever you got is what we like to hear, because the number one problem with entrepreneurs, and I'll paint myself with this brush too, we think we got it figured out, but we're looking at it like this, right? So what you've got to show us that demonstrates adoption or traction is excellent and helpful. Andre chimes in, personal experience, right? Andre's been on the road, literally on the road the last month or two. Virtually no raise for funds without an MVP. Even with the MVP, it's very difficult. You need to show some good traction. Yeah, I agree. Oh, he has a follow-up comment. Small chance to find an angel investor who may invest in a brilliant idea if they know you well and you have past history. Okay, that's kind of what I was saying, Andre. Yep, exactly, Chris. I think that's the program, is to demonstrate what's unique about you that would kind of break that pattern. The days of getting funded, with a smile and a elevator pitch, I think are gone. I don't know if they ever really existed. The media exaggerates everything. I was trying to raise money during Web 1.0, and I did, but I only a couple rounds. I didn't get as far. They make it sound like everybody who had a pulse was getting money. It's never that easy. Money is serious business. Okay, business grants. What does Carlos say? State accelerators in Virginia. Okay, Carlos, that's for you, Lydia. Yes, there's a lot of state accelerator programs. There are programs. Thank you for that, Carlos. I would look at the SBDC, Small Business Development Corporation. They are a national network of entrepreneurship help centers, essentially, that are funded by us, by our tax dollars. So it's free, and they were super helpful. Small Business Administration has programs as well, as does SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives, especially since you're in the DC, that area of the VA, meaning Virginia, has lots of resources because of the federal government there. Sorry, Chris, those don't apply to you down under, but there's probably something equivalent in Australia.
So there are grants too.
Yes. Oh, for sure. There's lots of grants. And especially, let's be frank here, as an African-American woman, I think you've got a good shot at that too. There's more money support for that than there used to be, for sure. And I would look, especially after President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, that was like $2 trillion or something last year. It's taking a while to trickle through to the economy, but there's more and more money coming into the local, because it got granted at, at the state level and then the county level, and then had to work its way through down to the local. There are actually workshops and stuff showing up a lot, at least here in Southern California, and I presume it would be in Virginia as well.
I'm going to look into what you've already given me, the SBDC, SVA, and the SCORE for now.
Yeah. Those are great ideas. Yep. That would help you. Okay, so then on.
Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Okay, there's a definition of MVP. And Andre's a sharp guy. He's got a lot to say today. So aerospace is deep tech. So this is back to you.
Is Andre in Virginia?
He was. I don't know where he is today. Where are you, Andre? He actually is. Are you joking? Do you know him?
No, I don't.
No, he's from the DC area, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can connect, but that will be after the meeting.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, he's got more advice for you here too. Deep tech grants. Yeah, okay, sounds like you two need to have a conversation. Cool. Okay, Alex wanted to add, that's a good one, Alex. Alex is an attorney. He's based in the Bay Area, and he helps early stage startups. So if you're looking for legal advice, we have a lot of friends and sponsors who are attorneys. Happy to always offer introductions. If anybody listening needs an introduction to professional services firms like attorneys or accountants, things like that, those are the people that sponsor the Startup Council and help us pay our bills. So if you need stuff like that, let me know. But Alex is a good place to start. And he's very succinctly has said here, there's this classic adage, if you ask for money, you'll get advice. But if you ask for advice, you get money. And the reason for that is, like I was saying, you ask for advice, that forces the person to think about it and engage and try to be helpful. And it kind of puts them in this positive mindset where they get to thinking about helping you. And maybe that leads to money faster than just saying, hey, can I have some money? Right? So that's a good strategy. And let's see what else we got here. Here's another good one. Riemann says, would incubators or accelerators be a good option? Yes, absolutely. Options for deep tech and, sorry, that's a lot of words at once. Accelerators and incubators can be great. My caveats would be, if you're going to do deep tech specifically, then find a deep tech incubator. Doing a general thing may or may not be helpful. It might, I don't know. But you need to be specific, I think, because the capital structure for a business like that is very different than, say, an app, which has a much lower capital requirements and spins up faster for customer adoption. But the other thing I would say, incubators and accelerators can be great. Just be sure to read the fine print and check references, because every incubator and accelerator has to cover their bills and or make money. So they're probably going to offer you a check or something, or office space or something, in exchange for equity. So how much of each? And what does that mean in terms of the actual value of your company? It's up to you to decide. And then also, if they claim to have all these references or introductions they can make for you, I would check some of those references, because you would with anybody else, right? You don't hire somebody to remodel your house without checking references. So I would do that as well, because there are incubators or accelerators that may be great or were great 5 years ago, but haven't done any deals lately, and maybe they're not as great as they used to be, right? Just common sense. All right. Okay. And Henry says, very good advice on finding angels. Thank you, Henry. Okay. So Chris and Lydia, I think we will let you go. Thank you for being patient and being so smiley and making the program look good. And we'll move on to some more pitches here. And I think that means our friends from Amsterdam would be up next. But let me, sorry, I need to change that. There's me. What time is it? Okay, wow, we're spent an hour on that. Okay, there, that's the one I wanted. Okay. All right, so up next, so we did Henry and Chris and James. Okay, and then we've got Maltezo and Kay, Jesse, Lydia, and it looks like Stephen snuck backstage too. So we're going to do, looks like a half hour of pitches. Is everybody ready for that? That should be interesting. So we're going to bring up our friends here from Amsterdam. Well, I'm going to turn off the chat because otherwise it gets right in between you. Let's see, turn off this chat for a second. There we go. Okay. So you guys want to unmute?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Good. All right. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for staying up late.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so kind of heard the rules, a minute or two. You just want to go ahead and we'll share what advice we have.
Okay, thank you. So I am the founder of Maltezo, and this is Sharissa.
Yes. So I will do the pitch. So Maltezo is an all-in-one platform system for the aftercare. Imagine need to work with 7 different systems to be operational in a niche where there is shortage of staff. As a result of Maltezo, aftercare providers are able to reduce the administrative burdens.
I'm sorry, I got to stop you. I speak American English. That's what I speak. I'm sorry. I don't know what you said. It's what care?
Aftercare.
Aftercare?
Yeah, there are like
Nursings.
elderly homes, home cares.
Okay. So it wasn't the accent so much as I don't know what aftercare is. So I would
Okay.
suggest starting your pitch over and explaining what aftercare is. That's my not yours. And also, I meant to say this to Henry and some others. Whenever you pitch at the beginning, speak slowly. I know you're nervous, but say the words so everybody can understand. Especially if you're speaking. I don't know what other languages you speak, but you have a
Dutch.
different accent than mine, right? So slow down so we can understand. Okay, you were doing great. I'm sorry, but aftercare.
Okay. All right. Coming up. Starting again. So Maltezo is an all-in-one platform for the aftercare. The aftercare such as home care organization, elderly care. Imagine to need to work with 7 different systems pure to be operational. So as a result of Maltezo, aftercare providers are able to be operational with every tool they need onto one platform. So they can reduce the administrative burdens of their employees and the heavy workloads by having every tool they need into one platform, of course. So we at Maltezo, we share the passion to improve the quality of the aftercare in many countries, such as those in South America, Africa, and the Middle East, to the standard as we know it in Europe. And we're looking for people who want to join us on our mission.
Yeah. Okay.
That it? Are we done?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, nice job. It's interesting. So, you have a great smile, so that's going to get you a long way.
Thank you.
So that was good. So the first thing is to make sure we know what you're talking about, right? So we covered that, and you pivoted very nicely. Aftercare, meaning nursing, etc. That's exactly what I needed. So good job. Then what I didn't hear the word anywhere was software. Are you talking about software?
Yes.
Okay. So you said tools, you said systems, you said platforms. All of those can mean other things. You can literally mean physical tools. A platform can be something I'm standing on physically. I think you need to use the word software. So it's true with a lot of, so I'm suggesting 2 intro sentences, and this applies to everybody. Make sure you explain what it is. Like aftercare is this XYZ, as she did on the second try anyway, which is great. So be clear about what market, and then say what you do. So we build a software. We have software, and it's a SaaS model. I'm guessing everything's SaaS these days, or it's an install that serves the needs of these customers with this problem. Like a 3, things. This is what we do for these people for this reason. And then you can do the rest, because this is the same point I made with Henry. I don't know where you're going. Aftercare, I've obviously never heard of aftercare, at least called that way. And then you're talking about tool systems, and I'm like, okay, systems, platforms. I wasn't sure, right? So I can figure it out. And obviously in this context, and to be fair, if you're at a pitch competition or something doing this, they're going to guess that it's software. Why not tell them, right? We have software and it does this. And I think some more specifics would be helpful. As you said, there's all these systems, like I'm guessing billing, probably, reporting, patient tracking. Like, tell me exactly what you're doing, right? And then very interesting, you're doing this globally. And I like the approach of it's the EU standard that we're going to do internationally. That's very interesting and clever. The point for an investor, immediately I start thinking, okay, where is the company headquartered? In which case, like if it's in Amsterdam, is it an EU or Dutch company? So if I invest, am I investing in what currency? And then if you're working in Latin America and the revenues are in, whatever, some other currency over there, it gets confused from, again, investors are numbers people, finance people. So that sounds like, as a patient, very cool. As an investor, I'm like, ooh, complicated, very quickly. And there's different tax regimes for all those, right? So you might want to, if that's a key part of your pitch, you might want to talk with your attorneys or tax advisor or somebody, like, how do I make this sound easy? And in the US case, and I don't know what it would be for you, in the US case, you'd say this is a Delaware C corporation that does business in US dollars, and stock would be issued here in the States. And like that immediately makes a difference to me, right? Because I'm a US based investor and I pay taxes in the US. Like, I literally could not invest in your company if it's based in Holland. Not that it's illegal, it's just the tax difficulties would be so much that I couldn't ever make money, even if you made $1 zillion. So think about your investors and who you're talking to. So anyway, I hope that, and then at the end, and you may be early stage for this, as I said to Henry, you would probably want to say something about what you want, which you did, but you did the kind of nice, we'd like you to join us on our mission, which is cool. But investors, again, we want specifics. We're raising $500,000 at a $3.5 million pre-money valuation or post-money safe or something. And even if you don't know all those buzzwords, at least say, we're looking for $500,000. You can figure out the rest. Or if that's not what you need, you say, we're looking for customers who are nursing homes, or we need a chief technical officer, or you can ask for other stuff too, and you can ask for all of it, right? So and then the other thing, sorry, you get me going here, what stage are you at? I'm not clear. Is this an idea, or do you have 1,000 customers, you're doing $1 million a month? I don't know where you are in the journey. So is that helpful? I hope so.
Yeah, quite helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And what were your guys' names? I didn't catch them.
My name is Charissa.
Yes, and mine is Given.
Given. Okay. Hey guys, nice to meet you. I hope you'll come find me on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with you guys there in Holland. Let's just go through the chat room and see what if anybody had any comments or suggestions. There it is. There we go. Okay. Sorry, it turned off the chat. So let me. But they're still. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Sorry, a lot of questions here. I got lost. Very good advice. Thanks. Much needed here in the U.S. My aftercare experience was awful. Yes, I think that's probably right. Yeah. Obviously, Carlos knows what aftercare was because he had that happen. I haven't done that yet, unfortunately, or fortunately. Andre, it looks like you're trying to address a huge market. That's a smaller niche. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you might want to be more specific. Or actually, that was missing. And again, you only have so much time, right? So, but why you guys, right? Does one of you have expertise in this area, I'm guessing, or connections or something? Why? Yeah. And the other is why now? Like, has something changed, right? The software allows this to happen. Maybe there's a crypto angle, right, that you couldn't do 10 years ago, or, why you and why now is two of the pieces that would also.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, nice to meet you guys. Hope to see you again. And please tell your friends in Holland, and we'll have to get myself over there. It's been a while since I've been to the Netherlands. Okay, so that's Meltizo, and we're moving along here. Let's see who's still with us backstage. Okay, Kay and Steve, it looks like, and yeah, and then we're probably out of time. We did Lydia, right? Okay, cool. All right, I'm glad you're sticking with me here. I guess we're adding some value. Thank you all for being here. I know this is a lot of competing demands on everybody's time, so we do this once a month, and if it's find it useful, please do click like and subscribe and leave a comment or two. That's how this all works. It's the social media world we live in, just trying to make friends and help some people here. Let me just toss in another quick let's see if there's any other things I was supposed to say here. Oh, if you're looking for a speaker for your show or your podcast, or really in person, it's more fun in person. But if you're having an event, I do a lot of public speaking and enjoy doing that. And I've got, I can do presentations or fireside chats or that kind of thing. And I'm looking to do some traveling. The pandemic's over, and I'll be happy to get out on the road and maybe come to your city or country. If that sounds like fun, I'd be happy to meet you and talk to you about that. As I said, we do video reviews or private calls as well, if those are useful to you. Again, those cost money. That's the only way I can manage my time, but if that's helpful, happy to do that. We have some LinkedIn groups, actually. This is on LinkedIn. If you want to join a private group there where we try to continue the community that's built here during these calls, you can come and join that. And I'll just read this out loud for the podcast listeners. It's linkedin.com/groups/1430941. That's /groups/1430941. They won't let me give it a pretty name, but that's where it is. Or you can find it, just go to the startupcouncil.org webpage, actually. And if you have follow-up questions, if you're watching this later during the replays and you think about something that we didn't address, or you have a follow-up question, you can post those comments as questions, post those questions as comments on YouTube, and I'll do my best to get over there to help you there as well. And I think that's kind of it. Yes. Okay, cool. Well, let me put up that offer we had as well. This is the Startup Investors Directory promo, and I know people always ask me for that. And where's the other one? I got to put these two together. One more second, and then we're going to do, I guess, some more pitches. Oh, actually, this one. There's a lot of URLs I'm throwing at you, but this one, everybody contacts me and says, can you introduce me to these people, or can you look at my deck? I get too many. I just can't. I don't have time. But this page is a page I put up for all of those of you who are looking for investors. And it's scottfox.com/startup-funding. And startup-funding will show you the list of, I belong to a bunch of angel groups, and it will show you details on those and help you direct you. I don't invest directly much anymore. I mostly invest in funds that then do investments. And it also has more details on the Startup Investors Directory and stuff like that. So that might be helpful to you. That's where I'll send you, honestly. If you send me your deck, I'll send you here because I just can't look at everything. So if that's helpful, I hope it is. All right. So next up, we've got Kay and Jesse and Steve, I think. So, yeah. All right. So let's do Kay, and we'll do these three guys, and then I think we'll be done with our show today. Here's Kay. Hello, Kay. Nice to see you.
Well, good to see you, Scott.
All right. So you got the vibe, right? A couple minutes of chat, and then we'll all poke holes in it. Does that work for you?
All right. So for me, this is mostly an improv. So let's see how it turns out.
Okay. Excellent.
All right. So hey, everybody. My name is Kay. I am a doctor of engineering in the area of computational sciences, and I am obsessed with universal solutions. Universal meaning one key that opens many doors. This time around, I have created this technology called Universal UI, which competes with Google's Flutter product, and wins in many aspects, mainly in three aspects. One, It ports to more platforms. It is easier to learn because we are based on easier language. And 3, it needs much less coding. As a matter of fact, in most cases, it needs half as much as coding as Google's Flutter to achieve the same task. So the current stage is we are at beta. We have actually used this technology to make a bunch of products. So this is a ready-made product. We have a bit of traction. We have demo applications, and we have ready-made products using it. The revenue streams are coming from, this is an open source business model for us. So we make money by consulting. We are going to charge $250 per hour for consulting development of custom applications. That's going to earn us $100 an hour. And we will have an enterprise edition, which is going to be $750 a year per user per subscription. Our user base is going to be about 60 million developers, and out of that, there's going to be 22 million software graduates. And out of that, we are going to target a few thousand early adopters. We are going to form alliances with software outsourcing companies, and we are going to try to get some SBIR and STTR funds as well. So companies that are close to us are Red Hat that uses the same business model. The market and these companies, my time is up. So I'm going to wrap it up. This market and these companies have been growing about 10% annually, and we project the same growth for our company. The projection, we crush the numbers, and we realize that we are going to be profitable in the first year. So for this company and for this product, we are raising $800,000 to be able to protect our intellectual rights, to pay salaries and wages, and comfortably expand to the next stage.
Excellent. That was really well done. I was looking for problems. I didn't find too many, so I'll try to help. The key one would be at the end. You didn't say it specifically. You said 800 or 800?
800 grants we are raising again.
Here, slow down. Say the T, 800. Because I thought big difference. Yeah, so just be careful. Okay.
Absolutely.
No, that was really good. Very interesting. So he did a lot of things right, folks, right? So please share your comments if you have suggestions for him. And to move him along. But okay, that was really nicely done. I would suggest to you, and I meant to say this to Maltezo if those guys are still there, all of you guys who are pitching with a speakerphone, just be careful, right? Like I would get a different kind of mic so that we can really hear you. And you're not so bad, but it reminded me more for Maltezo because there were 2 of them, right? But everybody, seriously, investing in a microphone is the easiest way to up your chances of getting funded. Okay, so this was very interesting. I liked everything you said. I have a more strategic question. We don't really have time for that, but let me do the good stuff first. So as open source, you explained it. You actually have traction. You explained what the traction was. Very nice. You made an analogy to a well-known company in the space, Red Hat. And then what I'm doing, folks, is for others of you, this is pattern recognition, right? What he's doing right, you should be doing, right? So all those things. Explained the business model. It's both consulting and a B2B subscription, which was great. He even explained the unit economics, which is what VCs call the price, right? How much do they actually charge people? And then he said that they're going to be profitable soon. So it gives you some idea of the growth. He actually gave growth numbers, which is shocking, and shocking in a good way. I mean, like nobody, that's really good. They're reaching profitability, which is always exciting and interesting. So yeah, very nicely done. 2 points that I think might be helpful for you strategically. One is the investors are very leery of service-based businesses, right? If you're doing consulting at X dollars an hour, even if it's $1,000 an hour, that doesn't scale the way software investors want to see it, right? And you are obviously a software guy, so you know that, right? But I would downplay that and really focus on the B2B subscription business, because that's the thing that can take off. And you know this, you've run the numbers.
Absolutely. No, we have a 3-year plan, and year 2 onwards, we are just expanding on the subscription.
Yeah. Okay. So he gets that. But for anybody who else is thinking this way, investors, we don't like to see businesses that are hourly based. Why? Because it takes humans, and humans only have so many hours. It just doesn't grow. Software works 24/7, right? So the second for K, and this context. Like I said, I would downplay the consulting, and we understand, like, I don't hide it, don't lie, but just be like, we're using this as initial capital so that we can get to this, right? And then focus on the second part, because that's the part that can scale. And I think he knows, he's nodding, he gets it, right? So, but
that's really what it is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I would play that. The larger question I have is, and we don't have time for this, but I would just address it. To me, or anyone is an investor, we hear a company that says we're competing with Google. Like, good luck, man. Why you, right? I mean, so you spend a lot of time explaining what you got, but the elephant in the room is, dude, you don't have a chance. It's Google, right? So, and we don't have time to get into it now. I'm sure you have reasons why that's going to happen, but that's what you need to address, because that skepticism outweighs all the cool other stuff you are saying, because they're Google, right? So something about that needs to be early in the pitch so that the other stuff can be believable, because it's just, they're such a competitor, right?
Can I try my chance to address that in 10 seconds?
Sure.
So this is a sub product of Google, and basically it was made by 3 people in the beginning, so it wasn't that different from where I am at the moment.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, I would say that. You mean Flutter was started by 3 guys?
True, yes.
Okay, so yeah, I would say that. But that's I'd say that's like 30% of the equation. The other 70% is that they have the distribution and the assets to grow it like crazy, right? So how I guess in VC speak, that's the go-to-market strategy. How are you gonna, even if it's better, right? We've seen many technologies that were better than the incumbent, but they didn't get anywhere because they just didn't have the distribution muscle, right? So that's still, I like your answer, but it's not the whole answer, right? The go-to-market strategy still would be a big question. So you can chew on that, and we can see you again next month and try again, or whatever you'd like. So, and you're
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll see you at a local event too. That'd be great. Cool. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for sharing your vision. And let's move on here. Hope that was helpful to Kay. Oh, I forgot to look in the chat. Did anybody say anything clever in there that we should highlight? Let's see. My chat won't refresh. Are you guys? Somebody, Jeremiah is speaking Dutch to our friends in Amsterdam. Okay. All right. Well, Kay, you didn't get too many comments because that was so good. Good job. All right. So let's move on. We got 2 more here, and then we'll be done for the day. So I think it was Jesse. Where's Jesse? Hey, Jesse, do you want to turn on your camera? Are you still with us? Oh, yeah, there he is. Okay. Here's Jesse. Cool. Can you angle your camera down? There we go.
Sorry.
No worries. Ceiling fans are, remind me of the pandemic. All right. So remind me where you were. You said you're Huntington Beach, right?
Yes, Huntington Beach.
All right. Nice to meet you. All right. So the vibe, you want to give us a couple minutes of intro to your project?
Yes, thanks. Really appreciate the opportunity to practice the pitch. So my name is Jesse Heisler, and I work for a semiconductor startup based in Dallas called Strike Photonics. What makes Strike different is our chips are powered by light, as opposed to the traditional chip, which now is powered by electrons. Light is faster. There's no unit of mass, so it weighs less. It's impervious to EMP, and just the benefit of a faster chip and a lighter chip outweighs the electronic chip. There's no other US-based photonic chip manufacturers outside of Strike Photonics. We make money. Initially, we have 2 business verticals. We will sell chips to defense contractors, including Raytheon, which we have our first non-reoccurring engineering revenue as of last year to develop chips for their platforms. We also have support letters from other defense contractors like Raytheon for similar work. We will also build our own systems that the chips will power. Initially, the first product will be a medical diagnostic device. We have a supply agreement from a CDC initiative for 15 million units at $100 per test. Today, our capital formation is primarily all private capital from individuals and family offices. We finished our A round last year for 10 million, have our building financed in Allen, Texas for 15 million, and we have equipment financing for 3.5 million. We are now kind of in the beginning stages of our B round, preferred equity valued at 200 million. We've raised about 5 million of that so far. We are in progress with Army and Naval grants, $5 million each. And then the big funding is CHIPS Act. And we are in the second round of our application for that, which is the monster bill from last year. TI is an investment partner, and so it's equity partner and manufacturing partner. They are producing the silicon substrate, which is kind of the base layer of our chip, and they've also manufactured the first and second generation of our photonic chip.
Done?
Thanks. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's impressive. What an interesting and well-funded operation. We don't usually get Series B level companies here. This is great. $200 million valuation. So that's a real company. So congratulations to you guys.
Thanks.
Exciting. So I guess, okay, so comments-wise, and again, everybody in the chat room, if you have suggestions, please chime in there. He's here because he'd like your feedback, so please share. So I would say I liked, well, a couple things. So first of all, the sound is not great. You looks like you're wearing earbuds, but it sounds like you're in an open room using a speakerphone. So it's okay, but it's a very open sound. And I guess you can hear me okay. Somebody said in the chat room that you can hear me, right? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know what you're doing, but you might want to call a friend and see if you can debug it a little. It's okay. It could be better. So that's all. So you're well spoken. You covered a lot of good points. You could use some more emotion. That was pretty deadpan. So a little more excitement. If this is your company, like show your passion for this. One of the things you didn't say was your role in the company. So I don't know if you're the CEO or a founder or you're a parking attendant. So investors like to deal with senior people. So if you have a title, I would use it. Because and the reason is not personal. It's just more that like if you're not the CEO, we're going to have to talk to the CEO soon. So we'd rather save a few meetings and talk to them sooner, right? So I would be clear about that and what your role is in the fundraising process if you're not the CEO. Raytheon having these commitments and the letters from these other companies is great. I mean, obviously, right? You've got some great traction. I started writing that down, and I said, you had a whole bunch more traction. You're already into Series B, so you this is clearly an entity that's along the way. It obviously also means, especially you probably know this, but for anybody that's listening, a company of this size, they're not looking for angels anymore. They're clearly up in the institutional market, meaning venture capital firms or even private equity, perhaps, like real big checks, not individual investments. So they're going to have, and you can see the requirements are higher. Like with the amount of traction that he demonstrated, angels would go crazy and invest all the time, except of course the valuation is already 200 million, right? We tend to invest at 10 million or less, so it's a different market segment. And depending on your company, the growth you're having, and where you would expect your head, you're going to segment into different tiers of the funding stack as well. Other than that, I didn't have a lot to. You covered a lot of ground. You must have done this before. What is your role in the company?
Corporate development director.
Okay, great. Well, that's the right path, at least, right? I didn't mean you were the parking attendant, obviously, but
I have parked cars for us, so it's okay.
There you go. Okay, well, there you did something right. You smiled. That's the first time you smiled, so you got to smile more. Like oh, you just muted. Something you did, we lost you. There. Oh, something going on in the background there. Yeah, okay, good.
Sorry.
That's all right. Sorry. But yeah, I would lighten it up and smile and, try to be excited as you are. If people, people are they take their cues from you, right? If you're not excited, why would we be excited? So, if you have to have a glass of wine first, right? Go, make it happen. Yeah. And that's kind of all I had. You covered a lot of things that I was interested in. So, I guess competition would be the other one. And you're so far up the capital stack that I don't have as much experience with companies raising that much money. So it sounded like you're on the right track.
I should have said we're not raising money from institutions, individuals only, and family offices. So I don't know if I mentioned that.
No, you didn't, because I'm okay. So unpack that a little. Why is that, or how is that?
It's the founders' initiative to stay away from institutions. One of the founders took a company public before and didn't like that route. So we've been successful enough to to raise money from individuals and family offices.
Interesting. Okay, so yeah, you should definitely say that. If for no other reason, you never know who's watching, right? We've got viewership all over the world. So okay, so what's your minimum check size? Let's unpack that a little bit.
We'll go down to 100,000.
100,000. Okay, so anybody who's interested in companies like this, that's a fairly small check for a company of this level. So a $100,000 ticket here is an interesting opportunity. That's cool. I'm glad you brought that up. That explains why you're here, right? Very cool. Right. Okay, yeah. So that's a different thing, for sure. All right. Well, great. Well, thanks for coming, and I hope the feedback was helpful. I'm mostly validating that you're on the right track. Nicely done.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I appreciate all the Startup Council just resources. It's been very helpful since I moved back to Huntington Beach, and all the different events that you guys, co-sponsor, and it's just really been valuable. I've met a lot of people through your event calendar, and it's just been. I appreciate what you're doing.
All right. Well, thank you, Jesse. I appreciate you being here and saying that. Awesome. Yeah. All right. We'll hope to meet you in person one of these days too. So, all right. Well, so that was Jesse, and let's see here. Then I think we've got one more, but he mentioned something cool about the events calendar. So this one I didn't talk about yet for those of you who are interested. This is the world's only calendar of startup founder events that are all virtual. All virtual. Why do we do that? Because this allows founders who don't live in New York City or London or Mumbai or Sydney to go to events, because events are how you make friends, and friends are how you raise money, and money is how you grow companies. So this is a seed planted in your mind, hopefully, startupevents.org. And it's a newsletter, one of the 7 newsletters that we offer at startupcouncil.org. But you can sign up and it's free. And we list events that are virtual for founders. So if you are looking to level up on your fundraising expertise or HR skills or marketing or software development, whatever it is, there's events like that posted there all the time from all over the world. And if you're an event organizer, come and list them, and we'll pump them out for free again worldwide to try to attract more attendees to your events that are helping startup founders. So if that sounds interesting to you, please go sign up. All right, so I think we have one more. Steve has made it backstage, and thank you for being patient, Steve. Nice to meet you. And I think he's our cleanup hitter today. And we're going to hear a pitch from him. So thank you for waiting, Stephen. And so you saw the vibe, right? A minute or two. And
yeah, totally. How's my audio, by the way?
It's good. It's good. Yep. Nice and loud.
Yeah, well, I think I check off a lot of these boxes. So this hopefully will be good and a learning experience for myself and or all the participants.
Excellent. Thanks.
All righty. And it checked out. I rehearsed it about a minute 55, minute 50. So it should be good.
Great.
Okay, here we go. Hi, I'm Stephen Leventhal. I'm the co-founder of Internet FM, and I'm coming to you live from the studios of Acid Flashback Radio, which is the flagship station of our platform of streaming radio from across North America, the UK, and Europe. Internet FM, my business, includes mobile, desktop, and smart TV delivery of streaming music radio built for passionate music fans. Now, unlike Spotify, which is music on demand, Internet FM is live radio. Just press play to hear any of our 10 different genres across 50 stations. Now, what distinguishes Internet FM from the competition is our less is more approach, our relationships with affiliate radio stations, and a number of interactive listener features to rekindle what made radio so popular during the 60s and 70s. Our business model is based on a low-cost subscription service to grab our share of a $20 billion business with over 500 million paying subscribers all around the world that continues to grow 10% year over year. Since launching, we've had over 7,000 downloads of our mobile product, and more than 20% still use it on a month-to-month basis. Our diverse team of rock stars in programming, marketing, graphic design, broadcasting, and operations is built for success with a low operating cost that would enable us to break even with as few as 2,000 paying subscribers. Our experience with highly targeted marketing on Google and Facebook allows us to obtain downloads for as little as 67 cents per. Recently, we overhauled our website and turned on the subscription feature. We're in the process of validating that model. And with the low overhead, we feel we can achieve very good growth without major VC investment. Instead, we are seeking additional angel investment of $150,000 to launch at scale our mass marketing and continue product development. I thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. All right. So thank you for that, Steve. And anybody who's got suggestions, please chime in the chat room, and we'll pass those along here as we head toward the end of the show. And let me, excellent pitch, says Andre. All right. Okay, that's what I wanted to put up. Okay. So yes, nice statement. I really liked the focus. First of all, you did some things that I was suggesting to other people, which was you said who you are and your role in the company. So you're a senior person that's involved at the management level. Like I said, investors, we want to deal with the person that's going to sign the check, right? Or cash the check, I guess, in this case. So that's helpful. You had a clear statement of what you're doing, and that's really helpful because, again, so many entrepreneurs are so close to it. You think it's obvious. It's not obvious to us. It's not that we're stupid. Well, some of us are, but we just see so many things. You gotta feed it to us slowly. The focus on differentiation was very nice as well, because there's obviously a lot of music products out there. Steve spent a lot of time explaining why they were different and why this was relevant, given that internet radio is not a new thing by any means anymore, right? So how are they different from existing?
That is literally the number one question we get all the time. What makes you different than Spotify? And it really is different.
Mm-hmm.
So we will always take a little bit of time to explain that out.
Yeah. And I would maybe even double down on that, because that's, if person, like my kids don't listen to the radio like at all. Like they were surprised that the buttons in the car did that. Because they did Bluetooth in with their phones. Anyway, so critique or feedback to hopefully be helpful. It was a good pitch, but you were definitely reading. I would not do that. I would try to memorize as much as you can so that it feels more natural. Easier said than done, but that's what people will react to, your energy level and your familiarity with the business. So the more familiar and passionate you are, the better reaction you'll get. So it's obvious. It just takes work, and I'm sure you could get there if you wanted to. 7,000 downloads sound good, but the real question is growth, right? And you did kind of address that. So my immediate question was over how long a period and where you're growing, and then revenue. But then you revealed that the subscriptions were fairly recent, so you don't really have results yet, I guess. But that's what every investor is going to want to see, because the other stuff is cool, but it's taken a while, and 7,000, as you know, not a huge number in the world of TikTok or whatever. But so the traction of that subscription offer is what everybody's going to want to hear about. So as soon as you have numbers there, that's what I would focus on.
Anybody who's in software development knows, no matter what your timeline is, it takes double or triple the amount of time to put it in play.
Yep, that's right. But at least it's launched now. That must be a big relief. But that leads to my other question, was $150,000 is not a lot of money in the investing world. So I think a lot of angels would be surprised, either like you, I'll just say it. Don't you have that money yourself, or can't you get it yourself from friends and family? To go out and do a fundraising process for only $150K is a high class elitist sort of reaction, but that's what they're going to say. It's not necessarily what I'm saying, but if it's only $150K, like, you could put at least 50 on credit cards, hopefully, right? And get going. And you would own more equity that way if you really believe it. So I'm not saying that's the answer, but that's kind of the feedback you're going to get. So I would suggest either lower it to like 50 and try to do it yourself somehow, or crowdfund it maybe, or triple that and say we want 450, because it's probably going to take longer than you think anyway. And that's a number that's large enough that at least investors will go, okay, I see why you're not doing this yourself. And I don't know your personal financial situation, whatever, but that's an in-between number that's awkward. It's like it's not worth the trouble from a lot of investors' point of view.
Yeah, because I would explain. I know we don't want to get into a whole discussion, but if our burn rate is only about $4K a month, you'd be surprised at how little we need, because it's such an efficient model we've created here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give. I own 80% between me and my son. I don't want to give up any more equity and still be able to maintain control. So that's sort of a nice, sweet number for us, but whatever. It's really inappropriate for this discussion here.
Here, let me just give you the feedback I would give in that conversation is, if it's only $4,000 a month, put it on your credit card. And in 6 months for $24,000, you've hopefully validated this thing and it's making money, or at least enough that then investors would be more interested, and you could triple the valuation and you would make the money that way. Again, easy for me to say, you're living this, but that would be the technical answer, right? So Okay, well, cool. But I hope it goes well. I hope that's helpful feedback. Let's just check in. I think people are probably had enough pitches today, but let's see if we got any feedback in the chat room for you. Excellent pitch. Seems like your reading portions could benefit by learning by heart and looking into the camera. Otherwise, great. Simple language, lots of numbers. Yeah, agreed. So nicely done. And James also says backstage, he's saying, what's the current or expected future value? That's a good point, James, right? We didn't hear much about the exit or the potential for the investor, right? If I put in that 150, what am I going to get? Or even maybe analogies of other companies that have done well in that space, or maybe, or even what your exit strategy is, if there is one. Because if you're running this as a lifestyle business, investors aren't going to be as interested. Or maybe you pivot to some kind of revenue share as opposed to an equity sort of structure. So lots of ways to slice that, but something about what you get for the 150 is a good.
Oh yeah, Spotify. If you're listening, I'm up for or Apple. It would be Apple or Spotify,
right?
Because they don't know how to do radio. They just don't.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Well, nice to meet you.
Alrighty.
For coming. I hope that was helpful. And I think we're near the end of our show today, and I hope that was helpful to you. I want to suggest that if this was helpful, and we hope it was, then please do click like and share and comment, all that kind of stuff. It seems little, but it really does add up. So if all the people that watch this today and in the replays, if you like and make a comment, then that will help us do this more and more often and support more entrepreneurs, hopefully like you. And if you have a follow-up question, if you're watching later on YouTube or somewhere else, you can post your questions there, and we'll do our best to respond as well. And hope that, again, that's helpful for you. And if you haven't yet, if you haven't gotten the message, then you should go to startupcouncil.org. That's the hub for all the things I've been talking about today. And we'll be happy to help you in lots of different ways. And if you go over there, you can see how many there are. There's enough that it's kind of a crappy website, to be honest. There's so many different things we're doing, just trying to help. I'm filling in little holes as an entrepreneur by nature. I'm trying to fill in little holes that will make your life easier as a founder. So I hope it does that for you. And I hope to see you again next month. This is a monthly show. So come on over again in late June, and we'll be doing it again. And I hope to see you. And please bring your friends again next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott Fox. You've been listening to Startup Fundraising Office Hours from startupcouncil.org. Have a great day.